Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode on SAP UI5 and Fiori training. In the last session in SAP UI5, we talked about how to use formatters, XML model, resource model, and Json model. In today's session, we will go ahead and start with introduction of SAP Fiori. What is SAP Fiori? How can SAP Fiori helps us to create a responsive web application? And how it is different from SAP UI5. There are many of these questions which are there in your mind, and you were probably confused about those questions in the past. So let's talk about introduction of SAP Fiori. What is SAP Fiori? The first thing which you need to understand clearly that SAP UI5 Fiori are not too much of different. People sometimes say I'm learning Fiori, and sometimes they say learning UI5. So try to understand what is the main difference between them. SAP UI5 is the technology, or to be very precise, it's the framework. And SAP UI5, SAP Fiori is the user experience. With set of guidelines to make sure that we develop enterprise quality application. That's what SAP Fiori is all about. It's about user experience. So there are two important words here. One is user experience and another is guidelines. SAP Fiori is more about guidelines, the way you should design your application. It's not like you can design your application based on your choice. If you do that, your application will not give the feel of standard app. The users of your app will be confused. It is difficult for them to use your application if you don't follow these guidelines. The best part about guidelines, if you follow the guidelines, you don't have to give much of training to your users. Do you need to give training to people to use mobile applications of Amazon to do shopping? Anyone? Do you need to sit with people and give them training on Amazon mobile application of how to do shopping? Of course not. Do you need to give training to people to book a cab in Uber or Ola? Of course not. Of course, you got to give it some little bit of knowledge to people. What does Ola does, what does Uber does, but there is no specific training session you got to conduct about it. But however, on SAP side, if you want to use an SAP application, you have to give training to the people, and that's what we want to come out. This is the reason SAP introduced SAP Fiori. These are best practice guidelines to achieve best in class business like user experience. Okay, so that's what Fury is. So now if we say they are they are guidelines, where are these guidelines? Where are these UX guidelines? So you remember they are called user experience guidelines. User experience in short term is called UX. Okay, so where are these UX guidelines? You can always go and search for these UX guidelines. SAP Fiori UX guidelines. Let's go and search for that, and you will find always these UX guidelines on the top. So make sure that when you develop your application, you need to follow these SAP Fiori guidelines. This is the main thing, guys, which talks about Fiori. Yeah, it is about the guidelines, following the best practice guidelines, so that you can develop an application which gives a coherent look and feel to the end user. So let's get started, and you can see the list of guidelines. You can see what is SAP Fiori. It's all about user experience. It provides a consistent and a holistic user experience. So everywhere, wherever you read about Fiori, it's all about user experience. It has a powerful impact on the user experience because user is going to get a top user experience. And see, Fury is available in two versions, 1.0 and 2.0. You can see this is what the set of guidelines, all the things are listed down, but we will make sure in our course that when we developing an application, I will follow these guidelines naturally, so you will understand them naturally. You don't have to read through these guidelines separately. Okay. However, for any control you want to design, the guidelines are already available. What is the best practice? How should you put it? Where should you put it? All that is already given. So which technology is used to build Fury apps? Anyone? Which technology? Do you use Java? Do you use Java? Do you use ABAP to build? No. You use SAP UI5 technology to build SAP Fury. I hope this also clarifies the difference which runs in your mind and about difference between UI5 and Fury. UI5 is the technology, guys, and Fury is the user experience and the set of guidelines with which you can use to build a enterprise quality best in class business application. What are all the other things Fury gives? What is the part of so-called Fury package? So it is all about giving best industry like best in class user experience, UX, so-called UX. Now we are saying UX, UX, UX. What is the difference between UI and UX? Many times you are confused also about that question. What is the difference between user interface and user experience, right? To understand the difference between user experience and user interface, let me take an example here. So let me just take a very practical example about UI and UX. The one very interesting thing to understand between UI and UX. UI is what developer creates. UX is what user feel. UX is about human behavior which user possesses to towards the software. You can change the UI in order to bring it more closer to UX. You cannot change UX. Okay, let's try to understand what is UI and UX in more detail with an example. So you can change user interface, but you can't change user experience. So to understand that, let me take you an example. You can see here in this picture, this is a picture. In this picture, if you observe, what is the defined path to reach to home? The defined path, the designed path is this. This is the design. This is the designed path for people to reach to from point A to point B. If you want to go from point A to point B, this is a defined path, which means this is your design. This is what somebody has thought, planned, and developed, right? So what is this? This is UI. This is what your understanding about it, and this is what you have done, organized, and developed it. But what is user experience? This is the user experience. People would like to take this as their best in class user experience to reach from point A to point B. That's your user experience, guys. Are you clear? User experience. So you cannot change user experience. Can you ask this guy to not follow this path and tell this guy, hey, follow this path which I have designed for you? Can you stop the user to follow this path which he is currently following? Of course not. You cannot stop user to do that. You can, however, build a user interface which follows this user experience, understand the user behavior, understand the user experience, what user likes, what user don't like, and accordingly make your design like that. That's why you see these days a lot of companies, a lot of road makers, if you see, observe road makers, what they are doing, they are giving a cut like this, right? To avoid the traffic, they are actually giving a cut on the road like this. So there's a car which comes, and to avoid the signal over here, the car can bypass through this road. That's a user experience example, guys, in real life. Another example, see it at the bottom. A good user experience to drink Coca-Cola is, you can see here, it's more like a glass. Yeah, so this is a good experience to drink a Coca-Cola, but here this is the UI. Yeah, you can see this is the UI, but if you want to improve the user experience, flip the bottle, because when the size of the drinking size is bigger, people do enjoy that. That's more like user experience. People like to drink with the glass, not with the bottle, right? So that's the user interface, and this is user experience. Cool. I hope this clarifies some difference between UI and UX. User experience is about behavior. It's about the 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 human psychology, the human behavior. If you understand this behavior, you can also make sure that your design meets the expectation of the user, and then you don't have to give extra training to people to understand your software, and they will enjoy it. Yeah, they will enjoy it. That's about UI and UX. So best in class user experience is what you get from Fiori. It gives a coherent look and feel for your application across. So if you develop one app or 10 apps, they all looks almost same. Yeah, they all give a coherent look and feel to the end user. It has, it is role based, which means if you are a manager, example, if you are a manager, you will see extra options on UI like approve leave, approve PO, etc. So if you are manager, then you'll see extra options on the UI. But if you are a clerk in the company, you'll not see those options, because a clerk cannot approve leave request of other employees. Only manager can do, right? So it's a role based. Based on the roles, different things will appear and different things will disappear. It gives a feature called SAP Fiori Launchpad, which gives a single entry point for all the Fiori apps. Yeah, that's what Fiori Launchpad is. You can do custom branding. If you see Etihad Airways, or if you see Emirates, what is the color Emirates have? Anyone travel with Emirates Airlines? What is their brand color? What is the brand color of Emirates? Red, right? So when you go enter inside their plane, their air hostesses, their dress is red. Everything is red. The plane, in the plane, napkins are in red color. Their airplanes, they have a white and red color combination in which Emirates is written. If they give you a gift of t-shirt, then the t-shirt will also be in the red color with a white combination. So it's a red and white combination. That's a brand color of Emirates. Correct, guys? So this is what indicates branding. You can also do branding using SAP Fiori. There is a concept called theme designer. Of course, it's not part of the current course, but that's another concept in SAP Fiori, which you can do to apply custom branding on your applications. So these are all some key benefits of SAP Fiori. So initially, SAP have developed and delivered 25 apps. It's part of SAP Business Suite. This is what SAP have done. Initially, they've developed 25 apps, which was known to be called as Fiori apps. These 25 apps gives you a clear look and feel how you should design when you're designing a custom Fiori app. Our entire goal in this course will be to design custom Fiori apps by naturally following the guidelines in mind so that we can bring our application very close to standard and following all the best practices to build best in class responsive amazing user experience, having amazing user experience for your application. That will be our ultimate goal. Now if you have never seen a Fiori app at all in your life, you just heard about Fiori is coming, but you've never seen any Fiori app in your life, that will, I think, not happen. You might have seen, but if you have not seen, SAP provides a free suite of Fiori applications for you to experience the Fiori for first time. For that, what you got to do is go to internet, search for sapfiorytrial.com. Just go to sapfiorytrial.com. Here is where you can go and experience SAP Fiori applications for free. Oops, it's not running. There is something wrong. Anyway, we can go to SAP UI5 SDK in that case. Let's go to UI5 SDK. And you can just go to demo apps, and here you can see a lot of demo apps are available for you to experience. So you see shopping cart demo application, employee directory, manage products. So maybe I just go to manage products, and now let's go inside manage products. You will see a nice Fiori application will come up which has options to manage your products in the company like materials, right? So let it load. Still loading, I guess. You can press F12 and check if there is something wrong with the app or something wrong with the loading. That's always you can do it, guys. You can press F12 and check if it's still making some network calls to load certain things. Looks like it's hang. I think it's still loading. Yeah. You can see the network calls are going still. You see on the left right side. It's still making network calls to load all the necessary resources or the JavaScript resources which are required to run this application, because JavaScript runs on client side. It has to download all these JavaScript resources which it needs to run, and that's the reason. And voila, you see, this is how an app looks like. Manage products application. So you see all the stocks, all the different products, total products. You can select a product, and then it goes into the detail of this particular product. So select it, it will take you to the details of this particular product. So this is an application you can see which displays the details about the product and the product supplier. It's a sample application. Similarly, you will see some more applications. If you just go back and search for this master detail, maybe I'll just click on that, and you would see a nice, beautiful master detail Fiori application will come. This is a master detail Fiori app, and I select an item, and it shows me the details on the right side. Yeah. So you see like order and order items. So you see order here, sales order, click on sales order, and then it shows the sales order line items on the right side, something of that sort. It's coming up here, and there is this collapsible panel over here. You can just make it collapse and expand, you can just do these different things. So that's a kind of a master detail Fiori application. This is what we will be learning in upcoming days now, how to design this kind of application which meets the user experience. And we will be also touching upon certain points of how this user experience is really helping people to build the enterprise quality applications, right? So go ahead and experience. Now right now sapfurytrial.com is not running, otherwise I would have shown you. So sapfurytrial.com has a lot of functional application. Okay, there you will find application like leave request approval, leave request to create, right? All that you can see SAP Fury cloud demo. I'll just go inside maybe and see if I can show it over here. So in there you will find all the available applications. I think this one is running fine. So it's slash sites, and saying demo will discontinue from 30th of April 2019. That's okay. So let it load. So here you will find a lot of applications related to different functional areas. For example, HCM, MM materials management, CRM. You see lots of application, retail, travel expenses, sales and distribution, materials management. So this whole thing, what you see right now on your screen, what do you call this whole thing, guys? Any guesses? This whole thing, what you see on your screen right now, this whole thing which has everything, this is called Launchpad. Okay, this is called Fiori Launchpad. Okay, this is called Fiori Launchpad. A launchpad is a launching point for all the applications in your company. Are you guys clear? What is Fiori Launchpad? Fiori Launchpad is the central hub where all the applications are displayed to the user. See, all our web applications. Will you give individual URL of every application to your end user? Anyone? Will you give an individual URL of every application to your end user? Imagine if you have 500 apps in your company, people will be mad. People will gone crazy if you give 500 URLs for accessing these apps. You will control the access, the roles, authorizations, and also the access point of all the apps from Fiori Launchpad. If you want to learn about authorization and Fiori security, which is more like administration work, you have to subscribe my advanced Fiori training. I will give you just an introduction of Launchpad in this course. We will not go in detail in this course how to do Fiori security here. Okay. So now you see there are a lot of applications here. They are available and user can go and run one of the application. For example, leave request. So you can click and it launches that particular application. You see leave request application is available here. Now I can apply for a leave, select some value, choose something. It picks up my manager automatically from cost center. Click on send and leave request will be created. So like that, you have lots of application you can experience. Come here to Fiori trial and experience, guys, different apps. For example, track purchase order, approve purchase order, retail product lookup, track sales order. See, lots of different applications are available for you to go and experience here and get some inspiration from these standard apps which are delivered by SAP. Yeah. So you can just go 1000. And if your company is going to implement S4 HANA, SAP is also providing a free trial of S4 HANA. You see, this is a nice application, track purchase order. This is open right now still. Yeah, so you can see this is track purchase order application. Likewise, you can read really experience also SAP S4 HANA Fiori applications, what SAP S4 HANA offers you. So you can also go to search for SAP S4 HANA trial and you can activate your 30-day free S4HANA cloud trial. So you can go to SAP S4HANA trials and then you can activate a 30-day free, or sorry, it's 14 days now. SAP S4HANA 14 days free trial you can activate here to experience the Fiori applications delivered by SAP as part of S4HANA. So this is also, S4HANA is a product, guys, like ECC. What is ECC? ECC is a product, right? It gives you modules like SD, MM, FICO. All these are part of ECC. What is Business Suite? Business Suite is collection of ECC and SRM, CRM, PLM, SCM, right? This is a collection of all these. That's called Business Suite. So S4 HANA is the next generation Business Suite, guys. This is next generation ERP, which companies are implementing. So by year 2025, the support for ECC will end, guys. Support for Business Suite, this was announced by SAP sometime back. So by 2025, support for Business Suite will end. Business Suite will retire. So this is the reason every company is slowly moving already to S4 HANA. Okay. So what is the technology behind this? The technology which is used to build S4 HANA was ABAP on HANA technology. So this is the reason why I am yelling in almost every class for all of you to go ahead and learn SAP S4 HANA, SAP ABAP on HANA, SAP Fiori Advanced, because these are all the things which are really much required for you to proceed in your future career prospects. Okay, this is the clear guidance which I'm also giving to you guys to learn all those things. So you can activate your free 30 days trial, 14 days trial for SAP Cloud, SAP S4HANA trial, and you can experience SAP S4HANA product before even your company implement. You can experience and you will observe that all the applications which are delivered either are Fiori applications, new Fiori applications for doing your business functions, business tasks, or they are SAP GUI applications which are on which persona, SAP screen persona is applied to give a same look and feel like Fiori. Yeah, same look and feel like Fiori. This is what has been done. What is difference between BW, between S4 HANA and, okay, let me read the question, and ABAP on HANA. For that, Arpit, I would strongly recommend to watch my video. There is a video which is created to clearly explain you the difference between S4 HANA and BW on HANA, sorry, S4 HANA and ABAP on HANA. Please watch my video, which is this one, difference between S4 HANA and ABAP on HANA. This was top asked question to me, and I have created a YouTube video for that, guys. This is the video, how to adapt custom code for S4HANA brownfield migration, and also S4HANA and ABAP on HANA. What is the difference between S4HANA and ABAP on HANA? I strongly recommend, Arpit, for you to go ahead and watch this video if you want to understand more in detail. 2 hour of video, I guess, 1 hour something. You have to watch that to understand this more in detail. Okay. So please watch that video to get the clarity. Who are the competitors of SAP to SAP Fiori in market? So when it comes to user experience, the UI, there are a lot of frameworks, open source frameworks in the market which are competing with SAP Fiori. You already know them. If you heard about Android, that's also another front end technology. You build a mobile app using Android. There is a very popular framework these days called AngularJS, which is getting so popular for creating the user interfaces which are there. Naptune is just a development tool, guys, like your Web IDE. Okay, Naptune is a third party company which has developed a tool which can create a simple Fiori application using ABAP coding. Okay, but Naptune is not the competitor of Fiori. Ultimately, Naptune produces Fiori application, but I don't cover Naptune in my course. Neither I know about it. I don't trust on a tool which is third party tool, because maintenance is not guaranteed. Tomorrow SAP introducing every day new innovations which I can consume directly from Web IDE and develop an app. But Naptune, I'm not sure about the future. That's the reason I'm not investing on Naptune. Okay. So I would also recommend you to invest on Web IDE rather than third party softwares to build Fiori applications. Okay. So in terms of UI, there are a lot of competitors like Android, iOS. We have AngularJS. These are all different frameworks. MeanStack we have, which is also another competitor for creating the front end applications. But Fiori itself is amazing. SAP itself is so huge. More than 65% of world GDP runs on SAP. So this is the main reason why we would prefer to use SAP UI5, because there's a huge development which companies have. There's a huge appetite in the market for UI5 Fiori developer right now. It's a good time that you have chosen to become a UI5 developer, because you'll see exponential growth in your career in upcoming days. Almost every company moving to S4 HANA companies would require to hire a lot of UI5 Fiori developers to develop these applications, which were earlier dialog programs, WebDintro programs, VSP programs, and now they will slowly convert to Fiori applications. So there is a huge potential still in the market. It's a good decision that you have taken to learn UI5 and Fiori. All right. So that's about, all in all, the basic introduction of SAP Fiori. More understanding is about building a user experience application rather than building just a UI. And now, which library do we use? Of course, we use sap.m library to create Fiori application. Let's look at the structure of a Fiori application. So by far, we simply created an index HTML file. So by far, what we did to develop a simple UI5 application was we were using an index HTML. This index HTML file was directly creating something called view object. Yeah, we're creating a main view object. And in this main view, we were returning all the user interface controls. So there was a main view object. And this main view object, we were returning all the controls. Yeah, this is what we were doing by far. That was like very basic, very simple application. Of course, along with the view, we had controllers and models also being placed. So that was there. Of course, that was there. A simple MVC application, I can call it as, not like a Fiori like application. To become a Fiori application, now this has to change a little bit. We have to change our application structure. We have to make sure that we use the bare minimum entities, the bare minimum things to create a Fiori app, which can so-called a Fiori-like application. So what are all the different things we would be needing? What will be the new application structure to make a Fiori-like application? Guys, remember Fiori-like. I'm saying Fiori-like application. What is a Fiori-like app? A Fiori-like application is built with best practice standards of SAP Fiori guidelines. So, application is so-called a Fiori-like app, which has component.js file inside. Okay, what is component.js? A component.js is a driver of entire application functionality. It is the launching point of our application. So as per this, now your application structure will change, guys. What will happen? You will have a component.js starting point. Index.html is only used for local testing. We will kill all the dependencies, all the productive code dependency from index.html and wrap entire app around component.js. That's what we'll be doing. Our index.html will just use for local testing. You cannot use index.html for any other purpose. It has no functionality. Today, your index.html has functionality. It is creating view object, right? Your index.html is creating view object today, right, guys? It's a functionality you had put in index.html, which is wrong, which is not a good idea, which is violation of Fiori. So now, since we are building a Fiori-like app, we should have a proper app structure. So what will be our new app structure look like? You have index.html, which has actually no productive functionality, only for testing component.js. Yeah, component.js. Only for testing component.js you will be using index.html for local testing purpose, no other purpose. Of course, bootstrapping will be done initially with index.html. And now this should launch a file called component.js. This is your wrapper. This is your main entity, which is responsible for building the application. This component.js now will talk to something called app.view.xml. App.view.xml is going to be your starting view of entire app. This is going to be starting view of entire app, app.view.xml. That's going to be launching point view of all the app, which contains the container control. And this container control further has all the views. Okay, this container control has your view. So-called your main view will now go over here, and then of course your controller and models will also naturally come over here. So that's going to be your new application structure, guys. I hope it's clear to all of you. How will the new app structure look like by using component.js? Am I clear, everyone? Are you clear, everyone? What is the new application structure of your application with the Fiori-like application? What will be the structure of your app? Is this flow clear to everyone? How to design a Fiori-like application? What are all the new entities you will have? And slowly we will also modularize a lot of things. We will also bring something called manifest.json, which has all the metadata properties which we'll put in the component.js. We'll bring them in the manifest.json. That I will do slowly, will not go fast, will go very slow. step by step, line by line, no copy paste of code. Just understand this PPT is so important. Take a print of at least this PPT and carry with you today and just read through this 4 or 5 times throughout the day to understand the new application structure of a Fiori like app. Okay guys, now what is component JS, what is manifest, what is this app view, how does they look? These are all three new things which I'm introducing actually. These are all three new things which I'm introducing today's class. Earlier you had only these and a index HTML, but now these are all new three new things I've introduced in today's class. They are very important. How they do they place? They are the drivers of the functionality of your app. What exactly is the component.js? Okay, we will be building component.js in next session, but let me introduce what is component.js. Component.js is the driver of entire application. This is an interview question, guys. What is component.js? You can answer this. It's a driver of entire application functionality. It includes what are all it includes. What is that? And whatever a Fiori app needs to run, that's all it includes. It includes metadata, and this metadata further has information like, just change the bullet points. So this metadata has dependencies on SAP UI5 libraries like SAPM. Do you want SAPM? Do you want UI table? Do you want UI layout? All these library dependency will be putting. Remember, we are killing the dependency from index HTML. So your bootstrapping thing, what you are doing, the libraries which you are telling there, all that will come here. Okay. Now, it's the driver of entire functionality of your app. The component JS is the only agent responsible to integrate our app with SAP Fiori Launchpad. If you develop a Fiori application without component.js, you can never ever run your app on Fiori Launchpad, because component.js is the only agent responsible to integrate with whom? Integrate with whom? Integrate with whom? Integrate with whom? Anyone? Which thing I want to integrate? With SAP Fiori Launchpad, FLP. In simple terms, we call it as FLP. You might have seen people talking FLP, FLP, FLP pe ye kar do, FLP pe wo kar do. What is FLP? It's Fiori Launchpad. Okay. It's a only agent to integrate our application with SAP Fiori Launchpad. This is the reason why you might have tried deploying some app on Launchpad earlier. You would have failed because you did not have component.js in your app. What it includes? Includes metadata. This metadata further has dependency on UI libraries, themes which are supported. What are all the themes which are supported? What are all the devices which are supported? Which devices your app supports? Information about devices supported. All the dependencies, versioning information about the app. The application information like title, description, application version, etc. You will have another very powerful thing called router. Router is the navigation concept of SAP UI, SAP Fiori app. Okay, we will be discussing that also. We will be spending a significant time on router concept. That's what also it includes. It includes router for routing, for navigation purpose between different views. It includes the launching view initialization of root view. We call it as root view, which is the starting view of our app. It's called app.view.xml. The starting view of our app. It includes an initialization of that view. It includes dependencies on other controllers, other components. Yeah, that's what also it includes other component dependencies. This is what this our component.js includes. It includes all the plugin dependencies. Right now we not discuss about plugin, become too complicated for you. So it includes plugin dependencies if you have. It includes the metadata of your app regarding ABAP deployment. You'll be deploying your application finally in the S4HANA system here in this case, our case. It includes information about all the models. It includes information about, or it includes service details. You will be connecting to a real OData service. That's what also it will include. All these things, it's a driver of entire application functionality, guys. These are all the things which a component JS includes. Clear, everyone? Component JS includes what are all the main things. Then it does the initializing. Everything will be done by component JS, and this all data you can also separate in form of something called a manifest or JSON. I will show you slowly creating these things. Don't panic right now. Just understand the theory part. Okay. So we will see all these things being used in our application. Don't panic right now. I will show you doing all these things slowly, steadily, line by line. There are a lot of chapters planned for these things we will be discussing. So technically speaking, what is component JS? So this is about functionally. If in an interview somebody asks what is the role of component JS, what it does, you can tell this answer. But technically speaking, it is a pre-delivered UI5 class called SAP UI core UI component. We create an inheritance from SAP UI5 class for UI component to develop a component.js. Okay, that's what we do. Some funda foxes, guys. Time for some funda foxes when we develop a component.js. Very important funda foxes. Don't miss out these funda foxes. You will have problems when you're developing a free-like application for component.js. There is only one component.js file at web app level. You can't have more than one. The name of the file have to be, must be, it must be component.js where C is capital, rest all the letters are small letter. The name has to be component.js. There is only one component.js file in the web app folder level. This is the file which you have, and the name of the file must be component.js. Okay, if you're creating manifest.json, the file must be in the same directory as component.js. So this goes along with component.js. You will remember, keep it manifest JSON very close to component.js. This goes hand in hand in the same directory where component.js is going. Component.js is only one per app. In the web app folder, you'll have only one component.js. The name must be component.js. You can't choose your own name like Spider-Man or so. It's C capital component.js. That has to be the file name. You can't do anything else. Okay. So there's a typo. Let me just correct it. If there is a typo, component.js. Okay. And here this is manifest.json. Yeah. So if you're creating manifest.json, guys, manifest.json is another file, different file. it must be in the same directory of component.js. It must be in the same directory of component.js. This is very important funda, Fox. So in the next session, I will start creating our Fury-like application. We'll give a very basic structure. We will actually convert our current MVC application, which we built using this structure. We will introduce these gentlemen in the middle. All these gentlemen, what you see here, we will introduce them. We will introduce in the middle of our current application. We will, instead of, we will have this, and in the middle, we will plug these gentlemen. Clear, everyone? We will be building a Fury-like application, converting it to Fury-like app using introducing component.js. So that's all about UX guidelines by Fury. When we build a Fury app, we must create a component.js file to make it look like a Fury-like application, guys. Fury-like application. These are all the Fury guidelines I will be following through. You don't have to really watch the Fury guideline page manually. They will be all implicitly part of our course. Implicitly, we will be covering these guidelines as part of our course. You don't have to explicitly go and read them. Yeah. But if you are interested, you can anyway are open to go and read those guidelines in detail. Please read through these two PPTs today. Okay. In tomorrow's class, I want each one of you to remember 69, 70, 71. Take a print, take a photo of these three PPTs. Please, please, please go through them at least 3-4 times today. So tomorrow you remember this structure. Okay. I will pick up somebody randomly tomorrow's class and I will ask you how to develop a Fury-like application. What is a Fury-like app? An app which has component.js. That's called a Fury-like app. And I will ask you how to develop a Fury-like app. And you should tell me this complete flow, complete structure, how each files are dependent on each other. So I will pick somebody from you randomly in tomorrow's class and I will ask you this. Clear, everyone? This is a question. This is a practice for today. You have to remember that. Okay. I think we only covered till resource model, right? Yes, we have only covered till resource model till last class. So we have covered by far MVC architecture, different types of three models, JSON, XML and resource model, and concept of formatters, and giving a structure to your web app folder, how to create views, controller. OData model is still a heavy dose of antibiotic. First, we will move into the right structure of the application, which we are doing now. And slowly, once we learn Fury objects, Fury controls, Fury behaviors, Fury guidelines, making sure we'll build like a Fury-like app, ultimately we will go and connect it to a real backend OData service. Okay, so there's still a lot more pending. We just reached 50% of our course by far. Already we completed 50% of our course. In upcoming days you will see it. Sorry for delay today. I was sleeping, guys. Actually, I did not wake up on time, so I was sleeping. I was working late night, so I could not wake up. I woke up late itself today, so that's okay. Fine. Sorry for delay. Next time I will make sure that I will keep my alarm clock properly set. It was also not ringing today, so that's why. All right. So we'll see things in the back end in upcoming days. Right now, it's still we are building, focusing on the front end part. We are still doing a batting. Okay, we will slowly, once we finish our batting, then only we'll move to the bowling part. So still we are doing batting, guys. We are learning batting. Once you learn batting, after that only we learn bowling and will become all rounder. With that, it's a done from my side. Any further questions before we close? Anyone? Any questions?
Hello, Anubhav.
Yes, please. Tanzim, go ahead.
Good morning. Without internet connectivity, is it possible to offline run in web ID? Because most of the class and other control not loaded. How to run in without internet?
Okay. So you want to run your application without internet purely. So Web IDE currently, as I mentioned, Web IDE personal edition is running locally, but you are unable to run your app locally. Am I correct? You are able to run Web IDE without internet connectivity, but app is not running. When you run the app, it's giving an error. Am I correct? Is this
Yeah.
understanding correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So for that reason, I will introduce a file called neoapp.json. Okay. So right now it's a heavy dose, but since you have asked this, I am right away giving this file to you. What you can do, guys, you can create a file outside your web app directory. Okay, outside your web app directory, create a file called neo app.json. So say new file, create neo-app.json file. What this file does, this file will create a relationship of your web IDE. Okay, it creates a relationship of your web IDE with the external third parties. So now you see this is the web IDE. Okay, currently what we are doing, whenever we are creating a project, in the project we are mentioning the path of UI5 framework from CDN, from content delivery network. So we are saying, hey, there is a CDN of UI5, Akamai CDN, and we say SAP UI5 dot or hana.ondemand.com, please load UI5 framework from here, which demands 24 by 7 internet connectivity. If your internet is broken, this link gets broken and you get an error in console, SAP is not defined. Okay. Now the question is, can I also run without using this reference from CDN my project directly? It's like my web ID is already running in local machine without internet. Can I also run my project as well? The project which is referencing UI5 framework. So there is a project which we built on top of web IDE, and this project was referencing UI5 framework. So yes, guys, that's possible. I'll show you quickly. So what we create is we create something called neoapp.json. What the neoapp.json does, neoapp.json file is going to tell web IDE. It creates a bridge between your local computer resources. Okay, so there is local computer. In your local computer, when you install WebID Personal Edition, SAP also installed a service in local computer to have SAP UI5 runtime hosted here. Okay, there is a local service which is running in your computer automatically when you install WebID and running WebID Orient server. This Orient server also has a local service running for SAP UI5 SDK, SAP UI5 framework is running here in this. And this is what you would need locally itself to run it without going to CDN. So to create a bridge with this guy, with this locally running instance of UI5 runtime, you need a bridge, and this bridge is your neo app JSON. Okay, so in this neo app JSON, you will say your endpoint, what is your endpoint and where should it point to. So I should say that whenever somebody is putting resources SAP UI core JS, please point that to my local service. So let me show you that how do you do that. So go to index HTML, and the first thing which you do in index HTML, kill this SDN dependency. So we don't want to run it from SDN now, CDN, sorry, remove this. Now guys, point one, it won't go to internet. Okay, it won't go to internet. It will search for the UI5 core JS in local computer. Clear, everyone? Is this clear? Now when I run, will it work? It won't work. When I run this, it will give me nothing, because it could not find now that that SAP UI5 framework, and you get an error called SAP is not defined. Guys, it's a very popular error. If you're getting this error, something wrong with your bootstrap. Okay, if you get SAP is not defined, something wrong with your bootstrap. That's the error. So now we have decoupled it from CDN. We are now referencing the UI5 framework from local computer, but it's unable to find it. The reason is system don't know what does this slash resource means. Where does the slash resource point to? So for this slash resource, if this is the starting point, I will go and create a bridge here. So I will go to new app JSON, and in this new app JSON, I will create an entry here. Then I will say an entry here in this new app JSON, and this entry I will mention what is the slash resource is pointing to. As I mentioned, SAP UI5 automatically gives you a local UI5 reference which you can point locally. Okay, you can point locally, and that local reference you can actually use it. That is the local reference you can use to point UI5 locally. Yes, guys, locally, which means you don't need 24 by 7 internet connectivity to load UI5 framework. It will load the UI5 framework locally from your local computer. And that is done by putting an entry in the new app JSON. So let's do that. So I will come here to the new app JSON, and I will start writing saying roots. It's a JSON file. It's a JSON format. So you can see I'll just put the first thing as roots. Okay. And then in the roots, what we will do is we will put the path. What is the path? So I will say my first root, there are multiple roots you can put. So the first root is my path. Whenever somebody pointing to slash web app slash resource, yeah. Whenever somebody pointing to slash web app slash resource, it means please go to another target. What is the target it should point to? It should point to my local computers. It should point to my local computer SAP UI5 library. So the type and name and entry part, three properties you have to give. It's fixed, guys. This file you can as it is use in your system will work. So type, please mute your line. I request you to please mute your line. Name and entry path. These three properties you have to put. This is fixed format of creating new app, guys. You should not change it. It's fixed. Type is service. And I want to refer an SAP UI5 service offered by WebIDE for free, which is part of Orion server already. And the entry path will be slash resources. That's it. This is what is called new app JSON. Here I'm saying anything coming from this web app directory. Inside that web app, if you see something called slash resources, please go and point to the SAP UI5 built-in service rather than loading the UI5 resources from CDN. Now it will load from local computer directly, and your entire application will now run locally without any CDN. No internet connectivity is required anymore. Let's go and run this now. I can come back another session, press refresh. Oops, something is wrong. Press F12 and check. Again, you see error is SAP is not defined, which means I have to do some change. I think this web app is not required. Let me just remove that. Anything starting with slash resources, please point to service, which is SAP UI5 service. Entry path will be slash resources. Let's try this one. And voila, yes guys, you can see on the right side it has loaded everything, and now you are decoupled completely from internet. No internet connectivity required anymore for you to run. You are on airport, you're sitting in a cab, you're sitting anywhere, wherever you are, doesn't matter. If you have WebID personal edition with Orion server running in your local machine, you don't even need internet. Earlier also you were needing internet because we are loading UI5 from internet, from CDN. Now it's decoupled from CDN. It's loading from local computer. Imagine this is something already running. So don't confuse about this part. This is something which is already running in your computer. When you installed and running the Orion server, okay, when you're running Orion server in your computer, this thing is already running with Orion server. This service is offered by Orion server automatically. It's already running. We are just saying if something try to run with slash resource, please point that call, please send that call to Orion server to get the data. So it's now loading UI5 resources from local machine itself. It doesn't have to go to internet, and that's the reason your app is functioning now. I hope that answers your question, and that also clarifies what is new app JSON and how to run your app completely local without a zero connectivity on internet. Okay, this is what we wanted. So previous session, can we
Thank
pass aggregation property, which we already doing in table example? Yes, you can pass it via the method call also. So in the previous session, we used aggregation property for table. Here this EMP tab, right? Somebody is asking if this EMP tab which we used Anubhav here in the aggregation, can we also pass via the JavaScript? Can we pass via controller? Why not? Why not? Let's remove this completely from here. Go to main app controller, go to init method. In the init method, get your table object. This is my table object. And now, what was the aggregation name? Anyone who will tell me what is the aggregation name for table? What is the aggregation name? It's rows. So there is a bind rows method. Use the bind rows slash emp tab, and now it's like dynamic binding. So that's another syntax you remember. Same syntax we did earlier for properties. Also we were using bind value, bind property. Similarly, now you can use bind rows. Pass this here. This is completely possible. It is going to produce same result. Result wise, no difference. Only just the technique, development technique is different. So now when I run, you see same result is coming. I remove the binding statically from the XML view, and I'm doing dynamically. This is what will be the milestone for you to achieve the exercise of XML versus JSON flip model exercise. You can do like this. You have to call this method, and then in case of XML model, it becomes slash emp tab slash row. Dynamically you have to bind. In case of JSON model, it becomes slash emp tab. On the flip button, you just flip the binding and it will do the magic for you. This is how you can dynamically achieve that exercise of XML versus JSON model switching. Okay, I have a small, okay, this was covered. For level button press, how can I select row? For row level button press, how can I select row? Okay, so the question here is, on click of this button or the row level, you want to select the record, right? It's very easy. So the question here is, guys, where is that button go? We don't have that button anymore. I think I've removed those buttons. Suppose there is a button in the row. On click of that button, yeah, it's here. On click of this button rating, I want to select this row, right? It's very easy. So have some event handler for this, and I'll just give you hint. Try it out yourself. So when you click on this button, you will get an event object. Okay, get that event object and get the source control. Source control is this button. So you first, step one, you get the event object of this button. From the event you get the source. Okay, get the source. Once you get the source, you
I know.
get this button object.
Actually,
Step two,
actually
first
added
let me
the
complete.
event.
Let me complete. After you get this button
Okay.
object, you get the parent object. Okay, who is the parent of the button? The parent of the button is this cell. Okay, then again get the parent. Who is the parent of the cell? The parent of the cell is this row. Okay, this is the row which is the parent of the cell. A parent of the cell, yes. And then finally you just do set selected is true. So there is an API called set selected for this parent and make it true. It will select your record on the table. So on click of this button, this record will be selected. So get the source control object, which is button, get its parent, which is cell, get the cell's parent, which is row, and then on the row level call set selected is true. It will select your record of the table. I hope that algorithm is clear. Understand the algorithm, understand the flow, understand understand the concept. Result will come automatically. Result will come automatically. Focus on your learning. Don't focus on your salary. If you want to double your salary, triple your learning, अपनी सैलरी को डबल करना चाहते हो, कुछ नहीं करना है. Focus on learning, triple your learning, it will automatically double your salary. This is tried and tested formula. Many people come, they focus on salary doubling. उल्टा काम कर रहे हो, you are doing reverse engineering. Don't do that, you will never be successful. You will never be successful. Focus on your learning, triple your learning, it will double your salary automatically. Your goal should be learning. This is just an outcome of the goal. Okay, salary is just an outcome of that goal. Your goal should be learning. Salary is just an outcome. You have to do this will happen automatically. Guarantee बोल रहा हूँ, ये काम करता है. This formula I personally tested. Whenever I want to double my salary, I simply go and triple my learning, and it works. It works, guys. It's a tried and tested formula. You don't have to focus on example, focus on concept. Why am I yelling every session? If you focus on concept, you can build any complicated example in your life. Alok, go ahead.
I don't know. Actually, I already created that event handler, but only I'm not able to get that row index. Whichever I did, suppose I want to do a delete action, so I want to get that index, which is row selected. So for that, I have already created an event handler, but only I'm not able to do is to create the index, row index.
You can get the row index with this also. On the button click, if you do get parent 2 times, you will get the complete row index also with that row object. Okay. Try that out. You have to try out in console. You have to try your best. Come back to me with the code you have. I am interested first to see your code. Don't ask what country gave to you. What did you give to country? Tell me that. What is
I
it?
actually have code.
No, I want this
Only
code which I gave you today. Try this code and
okay.
get back to me. and then we'll look at where is the problem. Okay. Then we'll look at. So I gave you the algorithm. Try this algorithm. Come back, and then we'll see if you're facing an issue. I am there to solve it. It's my duty to solve it. I have to solve your problems. This is why I'm here, to solve your problems, to back you on every single moment. Whenever you are stuck, it is my duty to bring you out of it. Go ahead and fight in the war. When you are stuck in the war, I will come and I will use my powers to bring you out of the war and make you win the game. But remember, life is a war. And there is a very nice slogan by Indian Army. If you sweat, if you sweat hard during if you sweat hard during your training, you will bleed less during the war. So if you want to bleed less during the war, you have to sweat hard before the war starts. You have to sweat hard during your training. Sweat hard as much as you can. Our war is real productive application in your company. So if you want to build an amazing Fury application in your company, which is bug free with the utmost highest quality, you have to sweat hard now. अभी ज्यादा स्वेट करोगे तो बाद में कम bleed करोगे. If you sweat now in your relaxed time hard, you will bleed less in the war. Otherwise, you go to the war, you will bleed everywhere. You will die with bleeding. So before going into the war, before going into real time, try as much as you can do here, because this is where the training comes into picture. This is what will help you to make your core very strong, to make your expertise, make your war capabilities. You will become an ultimate combat champion because you have to sweat hard here. This is why this training, guys. All right, with that, it's a wrap on today's class. See you tomorrow at the same time. Have a nice day.